So good. Hey, welcome to Let's Make a Day of It. We're having a pancake breakfast with sausages and hash browns, and of course, maple syrup. Well, it's March, which means in Ontario, Canada, that it's maple syrup season. We are going to go to a sugar bush where maple syrup is made, and we will make our own maple taffy on snow, and we'll buy and try some maple classic treats. Come along with us for this sweet adventure. You have friends. Wow. So it's called a sugar bush because we're in a sugar or maple forest. These are all sugar maple trees, and they have the sap that is required to make maple syrup with.
The sap can be collected from a tree by tapping it. A hole is drilled into the tree, a spout is inserted into the hole, and a bucket is hung under the spout. The sap drips from the spout out of the tree and into the bucket where it can be collected.
So they used to collect the sap in these wooden buckets and carry it on your neck with the yoke. And then they used to start a fire and boil it in that big giant iron pot.
Stunk. Some snowshoes.
So this is how they tap the trees today. They have these tubes, these lines that go into the tree, and then it collects all the sap from the next tree. You can see the sap in the tubes there. And the little lines collect into these bigger black lines, which eventually take it back to the sugar shack where they store it to be boiled. So all the sap comes from this pipe from all the trees in the forest and then pours into this tank here. And it's stored here until it's boiled.
The water is boiled out of the sap for hours, resulting in the rich brown maple sugar we know and love as maple syrup.
This is showing how many buckets of sap it takes to make 1 bucket of maple syrup. 40 to 1. So they really have to boil down a lot of sap to get a little bit of maple syrup. But it's worth it, it's so good.
Matt's a bad Canadian. It's like 5 degrees and he's wearing his winter coat still.
I like to be warm.
Don't really need a winter coat. It's beautiful outside.
It is very nice out today. So it's about 5 degrees today, which is the perfect temperature for the sap to run. If it gets too warm, then the sap goes up to the leaves, to the branches, and then it stops flowing. So usually March is the perfect time of year for it. Here we've got Grandpa Tree. As you can see, it's a very big, old, tall tree. Apparently it's estimated to be around 200 years old. As you can see, it's very big around.
Inside, the Maple Farm Shop has all things maple, including a little museum-like setup on the history of how maple syrup is made. Here is a section of a big old sugar maple tree trunk. It's estimated to have lived for some 220 years, from about 1792. The pins in the trunk show how big the tree was at different years. When the first telephone was invented, the first TV. You can still see the hole markings from where the tree was tapped throughout the years to collect sap from it. Besides maple syrup, the shop sells other maple products like maple butter, maple ice cream, and maple fudge. You can even get maple syrup in glass bottles that are in the shape of a maple leaf. One thing you can't get in the shop is maple taffy on snow, and that's why we make it ourselves. To make maple taffy, pour some pure maple syrup into a pot and bring it to a boil. It's best to use a candy thermometer to bring it to the perfect temperature for the maple syrup to candy on the snow. The magic number is 238 degrees Fahrenheit or 115 degrees Celsius for the perfect taffy. Pack some fresh, clean snow into a tray and pour a thin strip of the hot syrup onto the snow. The cold from the snow will harden the syrup into a smooth, silky sweet taffy. Use a wooden popsicle stick to twirl it up to enjoy. If the syrup was not boiled long enough, it will just saturate into the snow. If it is boiled for too long, it will become too hard to pour.
Homemade maple taffy.
All right, try it.
Sure, it looks very good.
What do you think?
It's very sweet and sticky. Well, that was a fun day at the sugar bush. So we're going to dig into some of the sweets that we got. So what are some of the things that we have here? Some maple sugar candy. These are my favorites. Are that one of your favorites?
They're my favorites too.
Yeah, these things are like gold.
So if you boil maple sugar, you can make candy. And depending on how high you heat the sugar, it makes different forms of candy, like taffy. But this is more like a soft, almost fudgy candy. Would you like one?
Yes, I will try one for sure. You can see that it is in the shape of a little maple leaf. Yeah.
And it just melts in your mouth.
It is so good. If you've never tried these before, I hope you get to try them one day because they're probably the best candies you could ever have.
That's tasty.
So sweet and creamy.
We also picked up some maple shortbread.
I don't know. Those were so rich.
Yeah, the
I
maple
want to stop at those.
the maple sugar candies, you can just have one and that's enough for right now. Goes straight to your head.
Yeah, but the shortbread will be good too afterwards. All right, well, that was our trip to the sugar bush today. It's one of our favorite times of the year. Always in the spring here in Canada, we love to go and get some maple sweets. So thanks for watching the video with us. Hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.